Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to Monday Night's Talking Town Extra Time. I am your host, the Governor, and we have got a really jam-packed and exciting show for you today. But we'll try and keep it uplifted and positive, but we'll always deliver an honest opinion. If you've missed yesterday's Talking Town show, that is, of course, still available. Myself, Matt, Kate Riley sat down to discuss and digest within that 24-hour period where emotions are high or low, the Oxford 0-0. I personally think, and I probably will say I was on the show, a show well worth watching. If you've not yet watched that, do make a point of watching it this week. But it is Talking Town Extra Time, as I've said at the top of the show. You can support us through Ko-Fi, through YouTube Super Chats. Everything helps the platform. The menu for tonight, we're going to discuss Bailey Clements' league debut. We're going to discuss Christian Walton, another clean sheet, a good save for the goalkeeper. Someone mentioned to me earlier that they reminded them of Bar. I'll ask the two contributors that question. It's a big comparison. You can imagine what I said back to the person. We've got sloppy play from Selena, wrong options at key times. Should he keep his place for next week? Maybe I'll ask both the contributors that. We've got Morsey and Evans. Are they the right two for a home game, or are they more suited to playing away? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one particularly. Saturday at times we looked really, for me and my money, void of any ideas. Is that their responsibility as well, or are they simply there to provide the stabilisers, if you like, to the attacking options? Got Prediction League, and of course, we'll look ahead to Oldham. So that's your lineup this evening with two fantastic contributors. There'll be a live link as always. If you're watching this back and you can't get involved live, do leave a comment. We love to read our comments, and we do reply back to as many as we can. So if you are watching back, you hear something that maybe gets you angry, gets you upset, gets you happy, you agree with, disagree with, whatever it might be. Let us know what you think and feel. We've got Mike D. Walton's only played a few games. Come on, you can't compare him to anyone other than the current keepers, and he's better than those. I didn't say well, you know me well enough to know that I wouldn't compare him to Bart. Somebody recently did. It's a question I thought I'd put to the community. We've got Stephen Parrott. I'd say he's better as Bart. Was never good. Great. See, there we go. Great commanding his area, which is key these days. Good evening, King. Good evening, Graham. Hello, my friends from Northamptonshire. Welcome in. Good evening, Anne. And I can see England are absolutely smashing San Marino in an absolute pointless, and I do mean pointless game. But there we go. Right on that bombshell, let's bring in our first contributor. He is the man that you all love because he provides the most eye-pleasing artwork. Mr. George Nunn, welcome in. How you doing?
How are you going?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I've just read Curtis's, who's our third contributor's message. He put that in, albeit far too late, because I'd already made my mind up as to who I was bringing in. And to be fair, I don't know who I'm bringing in first until I just sort of snap decision it. And he was close to being brought in. If those that obviously aren't aware at home, he's eating his Chinese. And he's just put in the chat, the private chat, bring me in last, I'm eating my Chinese. So welcome in, George. How are you?
All right, mate. Yeah.
What did you have for your dinner, George? Was it a Chinese like Kurt?
No, I just had soup, actually. Oh, wintry soup.
Soup. people who have soup for dinner, they intrigue me. They really intrigue. They do. They do. I know a few people like you. Do you not get hungry? Do you not get hungry at like this time of the night?
That's why I have soup. What? No, I had soup. No, I had soup when I was hungry.
Are you? Because you're supposed to start with a really big meal for breakfast, aren't you? And then sort of get gradually smaller or progressively smaller as you get into through the day. Whereas I start really small and then I save up my 4,000 calories for the evening, and I just like.
No, I don't eat breakfast. And today I had 2 mini orange flavored dime bars for lunch. So
there you go. That's why you've had soup. You see, you used your calories up on the dime bars. England are playing. Bit of bread, says Blue F boy. Yeah, do you have a bit of bread with it? Like a bit of crusty rolls, some butter?
No, not today. It was just virgin soup.
What was it? What sort of soup was it?
It was like Caroline chicken, I think it was called.
This
is
fucking boring. This is boring, chat. This is boring.
This
is boring me, George.
Please, they've tuned in for chat about my soup.
You've had a plain old soup, no bit of bread, no bit of red. They'd rather watch University Challenge at this point, George. I mean, which, by the way, is a great show. Don't get me wrong. I do love playing along, and you feel incredibly smart the moment you get 1 out of 400 questions correct. You just.
I don't think I could probably get that many, to be honest with you, Gov.
Fair enough. England, pointless fixture. Do you think it's a pointless fixture like I do?
I don't know. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? Turning over
San Marino
every few years.
I mean, it can't be good for the old San Marino team, can it? I mean, surely they'd be better off. You'd be better off putting your major teams forward in a tournament and then playing San Marino against Albania and Wales and Georgia and Gibraltar. The small nations.
You just slipped Wales in there. No, give them a shot. I bet they love it. I bet they love playing against England.
I bet they do. Right, he's ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. We've stretched it out long enough. We've talked about the soup. Flipping heck. But it is, of course.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.
The artist Curtis Yates, who's just at his Chinese.
Hello.
Kurt, you've heard about his soup. How was your Chinese?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. A bit of shredded chili chicken is what I had. Shredded chili chicken.
Is that all you have from a Chinese?
No. Well, I had egg fried rice, noodles, and then some prawn crackers. So
yeah. You see, you suffer with the same thing I suffer with when I order from a Chinese. I order 3 things, and then while I'm on the phone, is that going to be enough?
Snowballs. It snowballs. That's the issue.
Yeah.
You suddenly have an abundance of resources at your fingertips with the menu, and you just think, right, it then becomes a bit of an issue of whether you can actually finish what's on the plate. So I've done it.
Never can. But I always have this little voice that props up and goes, "Are you sure it's going to be enough? So what if you're still hungry?" So then you come off the phone, and the wife goes, "How much is that going to be? £34.50." It's like, what on earth have you ordered? I don't know. I blacked out. What will come will come. But do you have that problem, George? No, of course you don't. You're a soup for dinner eater.
I do have Chinese every once in a while, Gov. It's not soup every day.
Well, why not? Mike D, crispy duck pancakes. Love them. I do like the old duck. I do admire the duck in a pancake with spring onions and cucumber and soy sauce. That's how I like my ducks. Anyway, on to the football. Kurt, George, 0-0. Someone said to me today the most entertaining 0-0 they've seen in a long time. Let's start with that as a comment. Curtis, what did you make of the 0-0? Is it the most entertaining 0-0 that you've seen in a long time?
I mean, it was entertaining. It was. I suppose if you're a neutral fan, you would call it an entertaining 0-0. But as a town fan, I think I prefer just to call it a bit frustrating. Really, I think they were there for the taking, weren't they? Really, I mean, from what I could gather, I thought until it got to about 60 minutes where it seemed like they were happy to settle for a point throughout the game. But at that point, that's when you need to go into another gear. But I wouldn't say entertaining for me. It became a bit more frustrating as the game went on. I can't really think of, apart from the 2 chances off the post we had, can't think of any real tests that we actually gave their keeper at that point. I mean, I said to Stephen Parry on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, I said, I'm not sure why we didn't just chuck another striker on.
Oh, we did. But we did.
Well, yeah.
With 120
we gave him the
seconds.
classic Billy Clark minute.
The Louis Barry moments.
Yeah, the Billy Clark minute used to bring in Jim Midfield and bringing him on with like 30 seconds to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. For me, I thought following the comments that came at the weekend regarding giving Pigott minutes, I thought it was a bit of kick in the teeth. To then bring him on with a minute and a half to go. I thought if you're there and you know it, I can see it. So surely you can see it. If you know the teams for the taking at about 60 minutes, I'm not saying take Bon off. Just whack another strike on. And if you lose, then you lose. Unfortunately, it happens. But sometimes it's worth taking the risk to get the 3 points than it is to settle for the 1 point.
Absolutely. All right, George. We'll come back to Pigott in a bit. They then followed that up by saying we did everything but put the ball in the back of the net. Did we do everything we possibly could? But Paul, do you feel?
No, well, no, I don't think so. I agree with Kurt. Actually, I think it's that extra gear that we're struggling with. But I think that's progress based on what I've seen over the last sort of 8 or 10 games. Is at least we're not going backwards in gears like we did at Cambridge and like we have done other instances where we've come out in the second half and gone backwards. We've come out in the second half and matched them a little bit. I watched it back this evening, and with knowing that it was going to be 0-0, it was probably a little bit more entertaining than it was frustrating on Saturday. But yeah, I think.
Did you watch it back while eating your soup?
Yeah. Funny enough, yeah. I don't think we did everything we could. Obviously, like Kurt says, we could have just bought another striker. We could have, and we could have taken Bon off and put Pigott on. It's not like that's out of the realms of possibility if he's going to insist that he can't play any formation other than
before we
4-3-1.
Before we get to Pigott, I'm just going to put it out there. It's nearly Christmas time. I'm picturing George watching a 0-0 on a Monday night. It's getting dark and cold with a candle light, eating his soup. I'm sure it wasn't.
Run around this one.
Really good. George, yeah, you're right. Bring back to the football.
That'd be a fantastic little painting there. You can imagine it with the Campbell's soup, like by the firelight. Oh,
0-0.
Oil painting.
Yep. Don't want to go too excitement. But you are right, George. Joe Pigott. Let's focus on him to start off with. Then I didn't mention him at the top of the show, but let's do that. 120 seconds, I think, was what he was given, or there or thereabouts. Obviously, the week before, the Monday, this time last week, we were discussing the manager saying, I've apologised to Joe about his lack of minutes in the FA Cup. 6 days on, well, nothing much changes except 120 seconds he's given. Is that really what you want to be doing with a striker that has scored as many goals as he has for AFC Wimbledon?
Who are you asking?
George.
Me. Well, no. I mean, I think he needs to be a little bit more adventurous. That in-game management still is a little lacking, isn't it? He just needs to mix it up a little bit for me. And Pigott does feel like a bit of a wasted asset.
Is it about mixing it up, or is it about being brave and taking it by the balls and saying, we're at home, we've got 20,000 fans here, we've got a player, we're not bringing on, Joe Schmuck here, Kurt. We're bringing on Joe Pigott, who has scored a lot of goals at this level. This is us putting our authoritative mark on it, Curtis, and taking it and wanting it and showing we're going to win the game, isn't it? Really? Curtis?
Oh, say that again. It all broke up a bit.
Isn't it just about taking the game by the balls? It's not about sort of in-game management as such. It's not really about changing styles. It's about getting to a certain point of the game and taking it by the bollocks and just saying we're going to win it. We've got to go Pigott.
It's as I said, isn't it? It's you in those certain games you need to take the risk. You need to take the risk to try and get the 3 points. I think settling for a point against the top 6 team who, like as I say, we're there for the taking. I think you take the so-called risk, as you'd call it, and you'd whack on that second striker. For me, it's not about like forgoing what your forbidden rule is of sticking to 4-2-3-1. It's not about that. It's about just having the balls to just put that extra firepower on. You said at the weekend how you were annoyed at how many minutes, the lack of minutes you were given to Pigott. Well, the game was crying out to have a second striker on it. or as Nunny said then, you don't even need to put a second striker on. At least bring Pigott on earlier, because whilst we're talking about how Pigott he looked rusty and everything, the only way you're going to get that rust out is by giving him minutes, and prolonged minutes, not 1 minute 30 here and 1 minute 30 there. He needs prolonged minutes, and who knows? We don't know whether it would have changed the game had he brought him on earlier. But yeah, realistically, it's about grabbing the game by the balls and just pushing ahead with it. Because if you're settling for a 0-0 against Oxford, albeit a very good League One side, they were there for the taking. They were they offered nothing. They offered nothing to us because our defence it stood strong still. So
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a few comments from the comment section. I might come to you with either one of you with each one and get your thoughts or opinion on what the guys and girls at home are saying. We've got Stephen Parry. We go brave and we lose, like Mike said, we lose. Paul could get slated. He knows that with 2 minutes to go, a point is better than nothing. Do you feel a point is better than nothing in the catch-up game, Curtis?
The point only means something if you happen to scrape into the playoffs by a point. If we then end up finishing the season bloody 9th, the point means absolutely nothing. I mean, you can say that about it. You can say that about if we got 3 points anyway. But I would much rather we decided to go for him, because it was obvious. It was obvious that they were slacking. They were ready to sit back. So you may as well just overload them. And if you do lose, then yeah, you might have a few fans slating you for going too up top. I don't know many fans that would have slated him for testing out 2 strikers. I don't think many would have, because I think sometimes fans like the risk of just hopefully chucking as many good strikers on as possible. But no, I still stand by my point. I think he should have had the balls to whack another striker on. I think at 1 point for me, like as Mike Brown said in the past, you start the game with 1 point. You start the game at 1 point. Your aim should always be to get 3 points. And even at 60 minutes, we should have been going for those 3 points.
Okay. Fishing with Nick. I like the look of Evans. I think he was Fraser playing number 8 during the week. He might have been able to unlock their defence, especially as our wingers weren't performing. John Thorpe, #positivity. One transfer window gets behind Cookie. George, I see this quite a lot in my role as the host of these shows. #positivity or #be positive. What do you think when you see people like John make a very valid point? #positivity. One transfer window get behind Cook. Or Cookie.
Yep. I think I said a couple of weeks ago that part of I've been struggling to get more positive about it over the last few weeks, but and that's on me, and I'm trying to find positivity. I have, in fact, a little bit over the weekend, delving into some of the stats a little bit more, but so I'm a little bit. I feel a little bit better about the progress at the moment than I probably was on Saturday afternoon. But yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think staying positive is fine. I think there's just a line to be drawn somewhere between positivity and blind optimism. And I'm not suggesting that's what John's got or anyone else has got by any stretch of imagination. But for me, we just need to be mindful of the fact that, we do need to be showing some progress based on the players that we've bought over the summer and the all of the expectation around the club and everything else, and the kind of fanfare that came with Paul Cook. Okay. And I think we may actually have turned a corner, hopefully. But yeah, I think I'm feeling more positive about it.
Okay, well, which surprises me. You're feeling more positive about it. Talking about positivity and progression, left back Saturday, Bailey Clements. Talk to me about his performance and what you saw from him, George, because I think there's not a man, woman, or child, Ipswich Town fan alive that would say he played poorly. In fact, I felt, despite everyone being surprised pre-game, and I think Mike Brown maybe losing his mind a little bit and doubting it, I think he had a solid 8 out of 10 game and something really strong to build on. How did you see Bailey's first league game?
Yeah, I don't think he could have hoped for a better debut than that, to be honest with you. I thought he was excellent. He just looked assured. When I was watching it back earlier, I had the awful Oxford commentary on, even they were being very complimentary about how well he fit in and how he looked like a player of more aging years than he is. So I thought he was great. I thought the only thing, and this isn't a criticism, but I thought if he'd followed on his run after he laid it off to Selena and Selena hit the post, if he just kept going, then he'd have capped that off. And I think he had one other chance as well where he could very well have.
Yeah. That
shot.
one in the second half where he's put it across the box for Bon, and really in the position he is, Kurt, you've got to have a shot there because it's your goal. If anyone's going to score to have it, no one should really complain if you did it.
Well, no, that's the thing. I mean, I think maybe he might have had a bit of almost like, although it wasn't his first game, I imagine it's almost like first game nerves realistically because it's the first proper game he's actually played for the club. We're talking about a young. Well,
it's his league debut, so yeah, you can say
it was his league debut.
And the league is your bread and butter. That's where it was that's your soup of the mouth.
It was an 8 out of 10 performance, like you say. I mean, but then again, when I've seen him play in cup games, he's never really done anything wrong. He's always put in a half decent shift, and then to give him the proper test in a league game, I think he excelled above and beyond expectation. And it's one of them. I think what also gives it a bit of a boost is that after the game, Cook came out and said Penny he wasn't even injured. Right, Penny wasn't even injured. So and I think that's a nice little boost to have. That well, certainly for him is that it's not as though he's come in purely based on the fact that he's the only one there now. He's come in based on the fact that he's clearly trained well, he's played well in the cup games that we've seen, and he's deserved his opportunity. Now, whether he then goes on to keep that tomorrow against Oldham, or whether he shifts to Penny and back to Clements come the weekend, I'm not sure. But no, it's fully deserved. And to be honest, it fills you with a bit of pride to see players like that who, let's face it, as you mentioned there's not an Ipswich fan really who would have expected him to get any league minutes this year.
Well,
so
no.
Particularly
the cruncher.
Like it was just, it was nice to see. It was nice to see for us, and I'm sure for his family as well.
Absolutely. Particularly the cruncher who not only put £50 on it, said as long as he got hold in his arse, Bailey Clements wouldn't play at left back in a league game. Matt Stannard, bless him, has been been promoting Bailey for the last 4 months, and he was proved right on Saturday. Really good performance. Did go a little way, George, backing up what I've been saying for a long time in the sense of it doesn't really matter who your left back is. It's not really going to affect your promotion or relegation chances. Like it's one of the few positions in football where you can get by with a 6 or 7 out of 10 every week player. Do you not think, George? Like in the sense of it's not a vital component of your team?
I don't know. We've been moaning about our fullbacks for years, it feels like. So to suddenly say it doesn't matter who's there feels a bit contradictory. But I think he did well as much as anything because, the defence has hardly been shaky over the last few weeks. So, to force your way into that team, as Kurt says, that like pushing Penny out when he's not necessarily injured, that's a great effort from him. So but
are you surprised that he's almost lost a little bit of confidence in a player he's brought in only 17 games ago?
I don't know. Neither of them have had a really proper run at it, have they? So I don't know whether it's. I mean, we don't see training, do we? But I think the last time I saw Penny was at Cambridge. And I think I said after that I wasn't hugely impressed with him. He looked a little shaky, particularly in the second half. So. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's having a breather.
Had that Plymouth game, didn't he, where he made a really sort of bad howler at the back post for their equaliser. Mike D, I think positivity will happen if we show more consistency to get out the lowest position we've been in 57 years. Transpose my numbers there. Stephen Parry, I've not got blind faith, but on formation and tactic, I have no say. It's all Paul Cook's choice. Ben Moore is about being adaptable and experienced. Liam Manning is above Cook, although early in the season, but I can't see MK losing many if they play like they did against Cambridge on Saturday. Monty, having watched the game Saturday, just felt Oxford were a bit stronger in midfield first half, second half even game. Just felt we faded after an hour. Yeah, I agree with that. Mike the Fishman, I think he's talking that to Stephen there. Lee Bayes, Clements started Sutherland for me, unless Cook was a more experienced player there. You're saying we should have Stephen Ward back, Gov. Fair point. All right, take that one on the nose. Yeah, that's a fair point. Nothing wrong with the bronze bomber. Stephen Parry, they ain't sacked by fans' opinions for ages. They're sacked because of poor performance, and if Paul Cook performances turn bad, he will go the same way. On the midfield issue that Monty raises, obviously I said at the start of the show, and I've messaged you both with the talking point, Morsey and Evans. Are they the right? And we'll bring in some people in a second. I see Lee waiting there. He's actually he's on the sofa this week, ladies and gentlemen. Good grief. We'll get him in a second, just before his wife finds out and kicks him off. But before we do, Morsey, Evans, I'll start with you first, George, if that's okay. Are they the two? Are they the right partnership at home in games like Saturday, where you're chasing, pressing, wanting to create a goal? Or are they really more in partnership that's made for the trips to Sunderland and co, where you've got to dig in, work hard, be nitty, be gritty? How do you see the partnership?
I always find it interesting, the home and away thing. I don't want us to be playing different anyway. I want us to be playing games.
Do you not feel like football is a bit like that, in the sense you go to play someone like Wickham, you expect them to be on the front foot, pressing, because they're at home and their fans expect that. The same way at Portman Road, we as a fan base are all sitting here today saying, did we press enough? Were we taking the game by the balls enough? Whereas we go to Sunderland, I wouldn't care if we had one shot on goal and score, but come away with a point, because we're away. I feel like that's their responsibility to win the game. Do you know is that what you feel, George, or do you feel actually a bit differently to that?
No, not really. I want us to be trying to win every game. I don't want to go to Sunderland, and I'm less unhappy if we get to Sunderland and come away with a point, but I don't want us to go there changing the way we play and playing differently because we're at Sunderland. That's not. I don't think that's no. It's Morsey and Evans, home and away, but I've not been hugely impressed with Evans this season. I know he's had a couple of decent performances, and I don't think I've seen either of them. I'm not saying that they didn't happen, but I don't think I saw either. I thought he looked a little off again on Saturday. I think Carroll's fit again now, isn't he? I wouldn't mind
nearing returning
seeing him have a shot. I think I've put him on my team for tomorrow if he's fit. But I don't know. I think Evans has certainly been playing better since Morsey came along. I see what you mean, though. There's maybe not enough between them.
Your major component, or your major criticism, of Evans is he's ability to pass the ball forward. Is that right?
Yeah, he just slows it down. They're similar in that Morsey. It feels like Morsey slows the play down with purpose. It feels like Evans just slows the play down and then thinks about what it is why he slowed the play down. It's a nuance that I'm probably miles off on, but right. That's what it feels like to me. He's just not quite as cultured as Morsey.
I feel like we've seen, before I bring in that same question in, I feel like we've seen a midfield without Morsey in it. Because I'd almost say at home, do you need a Sam Morsey to break the play up? Because you should be, but then I've seen the other side, and actually, yes, we do. Yeah. So it is the Evans position, and as people are saying in the chat, Fraser played that in that role, albeit against Colchester midweek, and did really well. But is he more creative? Kurt, how do you see it? It's exactly the same sort of question to yourself.
From what I could see against Oxford, it was. I mean, I saw Morsey absolutely bombing it forward against Oxford at one point, which I thought Morsey would have the role of sitting back more, protecting that defence, lunging into your challenges, like a bit like a bit of a protector at the back there. But I thought Evans would be the one with a bit more of a free role to roam forward a bit. I know they've had a partnership at Wigan, and I know that they supposedly played well, and obviously they did play well. They got promoted, but for me, with the resources that we have within our midfield department now, I mean, as you mentioned there, we've got Fraser, who, like you say, albeit Colchester, he did play well, and he did control the ball well in that midfield. For me, I think you are right. I think you're a bit bang on the money there. I think games like your Sunderland is where they will turn it on. These big games where your big players come out, for some reason that's what happens. They turn it on for the big games, and then your games against, I suppose, your lesser opponents, whether they see the types of Oxford like that, I'm not too sure. But your games against the lesser opponents and the lesser big clubs, maybe it's a chance for Harper to come in and prove what he's worth again. Maybe it's a time for Elmiz to come back in. I mean, he's just signed his extension. Or like I say, Fraser in that deeper role, because he's not going to get in one of the front three roles behind the striker. He's not going to do it, because at the moment we have got a decent winger in Bon, and then whether they want to swap between Selena and Chaplin out wide or in the middle, this, that, and other. I don't think he's going to get in that 3. So maybe it's a chance for someone else to go alongside either Evans or Morsey. But I think to have them two playing every single game, I think sometimes it can actually be a detriment to our playing style, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. We're going to go ahead and bring in Neil Perks first. Neil, I know you were waiting yesterday on the Talking Town show to come on. Obviously, we haven't run out of time, so I'll bring you in. Neil, welcome in. You've heard the chat yesterday. You've heard the chat today. What are your thoughts around our beloved football team?
I haven't heard too much today, Martin, to be honest, because I only got in from work 10 minutes ago.
Lovely. Well, then you're fresh. You're new to the conversation. Tell me what's on your mind, Neil.
It's been a 14-hour day, Martin, so I don't know how fresh I am, but yeah, it's I don't know. I feel a bit sleepy, I think. Yeah, I think the whole thing.
You weren't watching the highlights like George, were you? You weren't, because that will put you to sleep, son.
I didn't do iFollow, to be honest. I only caught about 2 or 3 minute highlights. Yeah, I find the whole situation with Pigott quite baffling, really.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder, come January, I know it's difficult, and another striker that comes in could be in the same boat, but is Pigott going to keep wanting to do this, Martin, really? Just sitting on the bench all the time and coming on for 3 or 4 minutes. The guy looks short of confidence. He looks short of confidence as it is, so that ain't going to do him any favours, is it?
No, I actually felt I think he looks okay in the confidence part. But that said, I've not seen him in enough time to know really how his confidence or what his confidence may be. But I do agree with you, Neil. I have said that myself recently. You know, a player that arrived from Wimbledon, having scored goals, I would have thought a free transfer, had a number of options he could have picked. The game time is not matching where he needs to be at his time of his career, really, is it? He's a player that at his age, entering the prime, he needs to be playing minutes. Do you not think?
Yeah, I just think that I know I've said this before, and I know other fans say the same, and I know it won't happen sometimes until it's very too late in the game. But I just don't understand why we just can't give two up front a go at times. I just don't get that. It's one up front, and you know, so I hear Stephen Parry saying, "Oh, no one plays, you know, 2 up front anymore." But surely you've got to be a lot more of a chance if you're playing 2 up front like that, rather than this one, because I just find that if someone comes to terms with Bon, and then you get like Barnes, who was quite quiet the other day and things, we just seem a little bit void of ideas at times, don't we?
We do. I was just looking on YouTube, George, to see how long the highlights that the club put out. 1 minute and I think it was 57. Never great for a home game, is it? When the club highlights are 1 minute and 57, is it?
Yeah, I imagine 30 seconds of that is the pomp before as well, the Remembrance Sunday stuff. But
quite possibly. I was just looking. Obviously, Neil was saying he saw a few highlights. I was thinking, well, I don't actually think there was many more than a few to be seeing. There was
no. I mean, from the highlights, I mean, there was nothing. Obviously, I only saw a little bit of soccer Saturday, and I think Michael Dawson, he might have been looking after our game. But yeah, it just seemed, what chances were there in the second half? It was just all us, wasn't it? There wasn't one single highlight of anything Oxford done second half whatsoever.
Well, it was a lot of us, but huffing and puffing and never quite really threatening to blow anyone's house down. So, you know, it's the way it was. But Neil, 14-hour day shift, you need to get yourself off. Have some soup, I reckon George would recommend for dinner.
No soup. No soup.
You're looking well, but look after yourself. And we'll speak soon.
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Neil. I'll bring Lee in. Lee on the sofa. Look at this.
On the floor, mate. I'm on the floor.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I was getting excited for you then, Lee. I thought
you
were on the.
There you go. Look, on the floor.
Lee, I'll ask a question. You can either answer it or not. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine. But have you got a bad back?
Used to, but not so much now.
Is that why you sit on the floor?
Yeah, I lay on the floor quite a lot as well. The sofa's hurt. So I find that they're too soft. They're too soft.
Yeah,
and I sit on my arse all day at work.
Yeah, well, that was always the problem. Yeah, I've still got a back disability. So when I was just thinking, just come to me. Actually, he probably sits on the floor because it's quite. Yeah. Anyway, Oxford. they were quite hard as well to break down. So, what have you made of everything so far tonight, yesterday, over the weekend? What's your thoughts?
Oh, God, there's lots to talk about, really, isn't there? I mean, just going back to your point about Morsey and Evans playing in midfield, they've got to play every week for me. They're the base that we play around, and I think they've got to stay. I think it's a bit naive to think that we would ever leave Morsey out of the side to play home or away. I mean, you know that I can't see that happening. Although he is going to get suspended very shortly, isn't he? So he's going to be out of the side soon. So someone else is going to have to come in at some point. But I wouldn't change either of those two, and I would just keep playing them because I think they work well together. And I think what Curtis was saying earlier about Morsey sort of running through the middle, I think what happens is, and especially against Oxford, they loaded the wings, didn't they? They had a left back and a left midfielder and a right midfielder and a right back, really pushed out, to make the 2 against 2 at the back, down the side. So that left space for Morsey to run in when we actually gave him the ball out from the back. So I wouldn't change those two. And we talk about the in-game management, and I have to agree with most people about Pigott. But I thought the first 2 substitutions he made, I thought he made those probably at the right time. And I think they made a difference when they come on. I think someone mentioned earlier, we sort of started to peter out after about an hour and we started to run out of ideas. And then I think it was a bit after that, wasn't it, that we made the first 2 substitutions. And I thought the 2 that came on looked quite lively, actually, and sort of changed it. But I think Aluku, when he left those 2 guys for dead on the floor, that was quite, I thought we were going to score from there, but obviously we didn't. But for me, Pigott, I mean, regardless of whether you're going to play 2 up top, 1 up top, whatever, he has to come on for Bon at some point. I mean, Bon on Saturday won a lot more headers. I thought he won his fair share on Saturday, and it's probably in that respect one of his better games for that. But at some point, you have to bring Pigott on, and even if it's 2 up, is it 2 up top? Really, he can drift around in the number 10 role to pick up the balls and such like. But Chaplin, he's a goal scorer as well, isn't he? He came on. So is he like another? I know he plays as a 10 and he's short, but we didn't need to knock the ball long Saturday, I don't think, because I thought Cook in his post-match comments was saying, well, look, he felt confident in the game, comfortable in the game second half. And I think we were knocking on the door, and I think Pigott should have come on for Bon, not 2 up top, in my view. I think we were still trying to knock on the door. We were still creating the chances, and getting in the right areas. But they're difficult to break down, aren't they? They're time wasting. Well, I said this right at the start of the season. Our home games, some of them are going to be tedious because teams are going to come. They're going to, Oxford to start the second half, time wasting. After the first 20 minutes they had, I mean, they were as good as anything I've seen at Portman Road. First 15, 20 minutes, weren't they? I mean, we didn't get a kick first 10. I know we had a couple of shots, but they looked really dangerous. I thought they played really good interchange football. And then they just, for whatever reason, probably because we got on top, perhaps they sensed that we were getting on top, and they just did their time wasting, and we just have to accept that. That's what's going to happen. We just have to get on with it, don't we?
That will happen more because we are the chasing team, and George, they're happy to have a point because it keeps the status quo, doesn't it? It keeps Town at arm's length.
Yep, but that's why we've got to find a way around it. We know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. So Paul Cook knows it's going to happen. So there's got to be a way to counter it. And I know that some of it you can't help. The ref has got to help with that too. But we've got to be smarter. We've got to be smarter.
Games like Saturday, and I'll ask you this, Lee, aren't they madden me? Because when I sat at the press conference at the start of the year, Paul Cook said, we've got to have different ways of playing because teams will come to Portman Road, look at it. I'm almost paraphrasing him because I can remember it so clearly. Look at it. It's a great stadium, great pitch, but they'll come here, they'll sit themselves in, they'll dig in, and we've got to find a way to beat them. We've got to have multiple ways of playing. But Saturday, did you watch the game and feel the team were asking multiple questions and the subs coming on were asking a different set of questions? Or was it more, as I like to call it, paint by numbers? It was more, we're asking this set of questions with Chaplin, with Selena, Fraser, Selena, Evans, Burns and co. but then we'll swap them and ask same questions, but just different people are asking them. Like, did you feel we
Yeah,
asked?
well, that is, you can't. There's no other answer because he doesn't change the shape, does he? He doesn't. But I think this week, I still think we should have kept the way we were the way we were trying to play. But we're trying to be too clinical, aren't we? You know, we can play two up top. We can get the ball wide. We can knock crosses into the box, try to head goals, and play a percentage game. And I think that's the frustration where we get when we want to be battering teams, because you want the ball going into the box, you want the excitement, get the second balls and try to score goals that way. But that's not the way we play, is it? We're very try to be very clinical, not walk the ball in the net, but we're trying to play precise football in that way, aren't we? We're not playing percentages. We're not playing get the ball wide and just knock them balls in the box for Bon and one other, Bon or Pigott to head of the ball in. That's not going to happen. So I just think that I mean, going back to George's point about a way to try to break them down at home, I think we tried to do that because I think we don't press, do we? We don't press the ball. What we try to do is win the ball back in the middle of the pitch and then leave the space behind to win the ball there and then count with our pace. I think that's the way Cook seems to play, because we don't press the ball high, do we? We don't. And when you're at home and you're driving the team forward, that's the frustration for the fans. They don't, you want to be in their face all the time, and that doesn't happen. But tactically, I think, but Oxford, they shut up shop. But again, just going back to the 0-0, I was really entertained again. I enjoyed the whole day. It was 0-0, there was no goals, but there was an edge to the game, wasn't there? There was an edge. There was people getting onto the ref. You felt like if we scored, that was really going to explode.
Oh yeah,
I mean, sometimes that's the bit that captures you, I think, and that's the bit what we all go for. And it's not going to happen every time. I get that, but I just felt, that had been a bit like the Selena goal. That would have the whole roof would have come off Portman Road had we scored on Saturday. But yeah, so.
Yep, Stephen Parry, patient build up is what he was calling it there. Back to what you were saying about how Cookie likes to play. Gary Denny, when our wingers or wing backs are on song, we win. When they have poor games, Bond, Chaplins here don't get enough good chances. Back to what you've touched on a good point there, Lee and George. We like to play sort of from left to right, back to front, really patiently with the ball, two touch. But is there now a little game plan forming on how to stop Town, in the sense of if you press? I'm watching the game back. This is what I found Oxford were doing a lot of. If you press the back four and you limit the space, they can pop it into midfield to Morsi or Evans, then pop it to the wings and back into Selena and co. They then have to go long. And I think teams quite fancy their chances against Macaulay Bon in the air. Watching it back, did you feel maybe that was the way what Oxford are playing, and that could be the way other teams play us now? You press them, you stop them playing football, you force them long, and then you win the 50-50, and then you launch a counter.
Yeah, I think you're quite probably right. I mean, I think that's likely to happen when we don't change it around, and not just about putting two up top. One of the points about bringing Pigott on with 90 seconds to go, changing the formation with 90 seconds to go is just as pointless, right? If anything, more detrimental, because somebody's got to shift out. At least one person's got to shift to fit the new position. So I think we need to be clever. If we're going to keep persevering with one up top for as long as we do in games, we've just got to find a way to counter other teams countering us.
But it might
in hand. But it just feels like we could be more dynamic in the game with how we switch to cope with the way that teams are starting to play against us or still playing against us. It just feels sometimes like we're found out quicker than we adapt.
Absolutely. Lee, I'll let you go because I see that you're good lady always back in the room. So look after yourself.
No, as my son. That's my
your
son.
son.
Not my
I
wife.
do apologize. But either way,
Buddy,
enjoy your
that. I'll tell her that.
I'll look after yourself, and thank you for coming on the show. Look after yourself, Lee. See you soon. Yeah. It might though be, George, back to what we were talking about there. You stick to a 4-2-3-1, but it might be a different player with a different tool set, a la Joe Pigott, who's bigger, stronger in the air maybe than Macaulay Bon, is the answer against teams that want to press you high and force you to go long. They're only asking you to go long to Macaulay Bon because, in all honesty, I think they fancy their chances in the air against him.
Could be. Yeah, but we won't know until we try for more than 90 seconds.
Very true. Yes, it's very true. The Louis Barry substitution, I think I'm going to christen it this year, because that's what Louis Barry got, wasn't it? Against was it MK or Wimbledon? 2 minutes towards the end. It was a bit like, well, what's he going to do? Christian Walton. While we wait on Curtis, I'm not sure if Curtis is okay or not. Hope you are, Kurt. Christian Walton. As good as Bart, or a long way to go since what are you talking about?
He's as close to being as good as Bart as we've had since Bart. Right. I think, and I was pretty scathing of him after the Bolton game, but he's done wonders for himself over the last 3 or 4 games and looks more competent than the other two straight off the bat. So yeah, I mean, he's as close to replacing Bart as it feels like we've had, and long may it continue.
Yeah, I feel he went under the radar a little bit on Saturday because Bailey Clements took the plaudits, and rightly so. But I really felt it was Christian Walton's best game for in a Town shirt, and I really felt he took a big step forward as a player. Made a great save from a free kick. From a shot outside the box from us. Yeah, again, switching off from a throw-in and allowing their midfield the wrong side of us.
Yep.
I wonder how we do that so often with 2 holding midfield players, but we somehow find a way to do it. But he saved his team, which is what the goalie's there to do. When everything else around you is not perfect, you have to make it so. Mm-hmm. And then he's also, in the second half, coming for crosses and collecting them inside his 6-yard box. That's been a big bugbear of mine. Fleetwood's goal, for example, I was critical of him because it was a 6-yard header. And I always feel as the goalkeeper, anything inside your 6-yard box is automatically yours because it's your area. You patrol that at least minimum 6-yard box. But I felt it was really commanding on Saturday. It was a real faultless performance, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah. No, I don't think at the moment it doesn't feel like we're really under that much threat defensively to me. No. Yes, they get through every once in a while and they'll have a pot shot from 20 odd yards. And yes, it was a good shot and we let them go, but it was a good shot and it was a cracking save. But otherwise, it didn't really feel like we were under huge amounts of pressure from Oxford on Saturday. And I think that's why it's more frustrating that we didn't manage to find a way through.
Yeah, you say we got.
It didn't feel like we were saving a point, and I think, especially after 60 minutes, like with 5 minutes to go, a point's better than nothing. But after 60 minutes, with things going the way things were going, we should have been going all out for that, I think.
And I can't blame Oxford the way they finished the game. That's just and we also overwatered that pitch again. I say that almost every week. It's raining all afternoon Saturday. Like I'm getting drenched doing the shows, and at half time they bring the sprinklers out to water the pitch, and I'm thinking, does it really need it? And of course, but you laugh, but when you make a surface slippy, and you maybe have a team looking to already be like autumn leaves, it just gives them a little bit more of a better chance to go down, doesn't it? Making a slippy surface.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm sure we do it for passing reasons, but yeah, I think you may be right. But I think you probably drill too much into watering the pitch for 5 minutes over after.
It crazes me, George, when it's raining and they water the pitch at half time. I'm thinking, what on earth? Because one day it'll be our centre half that slips on his backside and they score. Because that's football, that's the way it goes. We've got a few comments. Simpsons Spiders for all your tarantula needs. If it's going to be up front, then there should be competition for a striker, i.e. Bond plays, doesn't score, so Pigott plays next game. Coxey's comments, no, but if he gets booked Saturday, no Rotherham game, that's Sam Morsey. He's very close to a suspension. Mike D, you have to remember, we've had the Chuckle Brothers to compare Walton to. Happy birthday, by the way, to Hadladki. 31, George, he turns. A wee baby, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just about goalkeeper's prime, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I always thought he was younger. I had it in my mind he was sort of middle 20s, but no, 31. Another player like Joe Pigott, I think, will be looking at some point to get first team football, if not here, elsewhere. Do you not think?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably like Joe Pigott, he didn't necessarily come here expecting to not be the number one after the season that he had last year. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise. It's probably a little bit soon now, but I imagine if there is another clear out, that will be in the summer.
Well, I don't think the club would want to clear him out. I think it's more of a personal, professional. If I was 31 and I was a goalkeeper, I think I'd want to be playing football because it is your prime, as you said. You know, and you've been Golden Glove winner in League Two the year before. A bit like Joe Pigott. No one wants to sit on the bench. Nobody. But it is a big club. Who knows? Anyway, Prediction League is now open. Week 16. Link is in the chat. George, before we bring the GOAT in, we have got Sunderland, Ipswich, Cambridge, Rotherham, and Norwich versus Southampton. 3 fixtures this week because Colchester was last week. I didn't notice when I put it on last week's slip, but it is this week's game. They had a week off for some reason. Don't know why. Don't ask me. Who do you go for in the Norwich-Southampton game? Obviously, Dean Smith's first game in charge. Could be a dream start for Mr. Smith. How did you see it?
I think I went 1-3 Southampton.
You certainly did, yeah. So you don't see Norwich getting any joy against the Saints?
No, I don't see them getting much joy against anyone. But yeah, who knows? They might have that bounce, but let's hope not.
All right, let's bring in the GOAT, Colin Plum. Welcome in. And just before he speaks, actually, don't forget you can get involved with the Prediction League. Use the link. Every correct score gets 3 points. You must get a correct score, not just the team that wins to get those 3 points. We're all playing towards prizes. The GOAT, welcome. How are you?
Hello, Gav. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Colin. Talk to me. How you feeling after Oxford 0-0? You say in the chat positivity. It is 10-0, I'm told, by the way. England 10, San Marino 0. The most pointless fixture known to man, except...
It certainly is. San Marino also had a player sent off. England have actually had a goal disallowed. Off the top of my head, I don't actually know what England's record score is. I don't know if any of you'd like to put that in the chat. I'm not 100% sure about that. I mean, it could have quite easily been 11, but obviously they've had a goal disallowed. But what you have to always say to yourself, are they absolutely pathetic? Yes. Is it easy? I can remember like Ipswich playing sides of a real lacking total quality whatsoever, and it was always beat them, but always hard to break them down. You know, when you've got 10, 11, 12 or 10 as it is at the moment, 10 goals in a game, which is obviously what at the moment 1 goal every 8 minutes. That takes some doing against anybody. It's 11. It's 11. It's 11. Now they've got 11 goals. No, it's been chalked off, I think. Yes, it's been chalked off.
All right, John Motson, calm down.
Anyway, yeah, it's been chalked off. Should have been 12. Yeah, but it takes. All I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter who you play. It's like when Ipswich is great, so I play Bury Town in the pre-season friendly. Very, very seldom do you beat them 8, 9, 10-0. Very difficult when people put 10 men behind the ball. Don't matter who it is.
Well, 9 men in this game.
Remember that.
They've got 1 sent off. So talk to me, Colin, about that.
Yeah.
Oldham, tomorrow night. Let's shift the focus. Yeah. FA Cup replay. A tournament we've won. A competition that means a lot to Sound fans. How do you see it going down tomorrow?
Well, I obviously very, very much hope that we take it very seriously. So I'm sure we will do, because, I mean, you're looking at Barrow at home in the second round if we get through. That really, I know we said it about Oldham at home, but that really should be a decent passport to the third round of the FA Cup. Now, you know, me included, I mean, a lot of people, you know, I mean, have I been to the Tottenham Hotspur's new stadium? No. Have I been to the Etihad? No. There's 2 or 3 stadiums that, you know, I'd love, and I know 10, 11, 12,000 town fans would love to go to. Get the opportunity to go to 1 or 2 of these really super stadiums in the country. We've got the perfect couple of passports to get to the third round. I mean, we might go to the third round and draw whoever, you know, we might draw Watford away, you know, or But there again, we could draw Norwich at home, and that'd be a 30,000 all set.
I
sellout.
wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want any part of Norwich in the FA Cup third round. I just feel we're not quite at the level. We all say they're bad, and Dean Smith's now put in charge, but we're not quite their level.
I totally get that, but for a football club, it would generate, quite a lot of money, and and it all helps, Gov, in the grand scheme of things. It does.
Colin, let me
let's put it this way. Let's put it this way, Gov. I'd rather play Norwich at home in front of 30,000 than play Sheffield. No, not Sheffield. Yeah, say Sheffield United at home in front of 20,000. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
But yeah, or you could flip it and say, do you know what? That's how that tie against Sheffield United, I think, could be a good tie on TV. Team out the Premier League, team that are maybe at this point doing well in League One. Could be a lot of intrigue about it. And for me, and I'm not saying Norwich are gladiators, but us at home to Sheffield United feels more winnable and a passport to round 4. This is all hypothetical because you know what we're like. We'll go to fucking Oldham tomorrow and get beat 3-0 and be looking like absolute twonks. But we'll live in the hypothetical world for a moment.
Even Liam Gibbs might get his chance to play against Ipswich.
Well, now we are living in the hypothetical land. What we'll do is, Colin, I'll put a few teams on the screen for you. I want your thoughts. I'll get George's thoughts. We've got, funnily enough, George's 11 to start off with. Colin, here it is: Haladki in goal, Vincent Young, Wolfenden, Burgess, Penny. Then you've got midfield 2 of El Mazzini and Carroll, and then 3 of Aluko, Chaplin and Fraser, with Joe Pigott up the front. What do you make of George's 11 there for Oldham tomorrow?
Decent for that game. Apart from the fact I haven't really, like a lot of people in the chat, I don't really know what's really happening to Carroll. Aladki, Vincent Young, Wolfenden, Burgess, Penny. Yeah, I agree with all that lot. El Mazzuni for definite. So who have we got there? Fraser, Chaplin, and who's the other one?
Aluko.
Yeah, I'm loving that. Pick it up top. I was talking to Rich today, actually. I think Pigott, it's a really, I wouldn't want to say massive, because I think that puts too much pressure on him. I think it's a big game for Pigott tomorrow night. I think, and Rich actually agreed with me, I think it's a kind of game where if he can go there tomorrow night, score a couple of goals, I think there's a good chance, and a lot of people might not agree with me, but I think there's a good chance he could possibly start on Saturday. Because I'll tell you what I'll say about Pigott. I know, everybody's feeling the same way about it, including me. But, he has been given the rough end of the stick. There's no doubt about that. But I do believe that Joe Pigott, and I'll go on as a record as saying this, I think he's still got a massive part to play in this season. Now, what I mean by that, Gov and George, is we've still got 29 league, not including cup, we've got 29 league games still to play. Yeah, that's a possible 87 points. Right? Now, we, quite honestly, I mean, I think we kind of know. We kind of know what's going to happen in January. But we don't definitely know what's going to happen in January. Let's play devil's advocate here for a minute. I mean, it could possibly come out that we might not even sign Bond. I mean, I hope we do, obviously, 100%. But if by some reason we didn't, Pigott then, because obviously we all know about Norwood, Pigott then becomes the main striker. He's one of them. In case Joe's watching this, Joe, you're one of our main strikers anyway. Trust me. A lot of people think that. I certainly do. And I still
Needs to
think
get
he's
playing
not.
though, Colin.
No, he's not.
I
But
get,
it's not.
I get.
But the Gov, I'm trying to agree with what you've said in previously. I'm agreeing
has
with
to get
you
minutes.
that he hasn't had his fair crack of the whip. I will agree with you 100%. There's been games where Paul could have played him and still hasn't. There's been games where he could have played him and only give him 10, 15 minutes, you know? I mean, he has had a real raw deal up till now. But this is what I'm saying. I still think, you know, it might not be for another 4 or 5 weeks. But I still think, you know, when we're talking about 29 games plus maybe a few cup games, let's say, for example, we've got a bit of a decent cup, a little run, and so we played, so we've still got 32, 33, 34 games to play. The chances of Macaulay Bonne playing all of them are nigh on nil. You know, because like Rich quite rightly says, he'll burn himself out. They'll burn him out. It's got to come a time where a player who's got a proven record of scoring goals in this league, in the third division, has got to be given his shirt, if you like. You know, he's got to be given his number 9 shirt to go out there and prove to us exactly what he can do in this league. And he's got a proven goal scoring record. There is no doubt about that. But when you're stuck, I'll tell you what, I said to Ian on Sunday afternoon when we went for a walk, if you remember, with my grandchildren. I said to Ian, I said, do you know what? I really felt embarrassed for him. I really felt embarrassed. And in a lot of ways, I felt embarrassed for Cook because I thought he embarrassed himself, to be perfectly honest. I'm a big Cook fan. But, you know, I felt for Joe Pigott because, like I said to you, Gov, if you remember after the game, rather than give somebody 3 minutes, don't give him anything. Yeah. Please don't give him anything. That is an embarrassment to everybody, nigh on. You know,
right,
so,
okay, Colin, hang on. Lots. You've said lots there. Lots to unpack. I'll bring George in. George, Colin obviously made a good few points in there. What do you make of what Colin's just said?
Yeah, I'm picking up with the last bit. I think we've talked about it. I think it's absolutely right. Bringing Pigott on is, especially after apologising to him last week, just felt a little needless. But also it didn't really fit with the game for me. I think he is likely to get more game time over the season because, I agree. I think Bonne is unlikely to play 46 games in the league, and because he will burn out, or he's going to pick up an injury at some point, or worst case, he ends up being recalled in January, which hopefully isn't going to happen. But yeah, I mean, but he needs to be ready, doesn't he? And I think the nature of there not being a sort of reserve league anymore, where the players that aren't in the first team just play in the reserve team, isn't helpful for players like Pigott because he doesn't get game time.
Can I just come in there, George? Excuse me. You make a very, very good point there. I mean, on the occasions I didn't used to go away, I used to go and watch the football combination. And because you used to be able to get in the football combination on a season ticket. And you used to be able to watch as many reserve games you wanted at Portman Road. But trust me, the football combination was a very, very good league. You had like Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham. You had all the London sides. And, you know, but what I'm trying to say is because of the fact you only had one sub in those days, I used to go sometimes with my dad, but me and my dad hadn't got away. We used to go and, you know, you go there and you have the likes of Gatesy might be playing and pre-Butcher and Osman getting into the side when Hunter and Beattie were playing. You go there and a very young Butcher and Osman would be playing, and you'd have somebody like Mitch DeVry up front. You know, maybe have Clive Woods on the wing if Bobby had played a different formation. You used to go and watch the combination, and basically it was nearly a side that would win the championship now. You know, but yeah, that was a very, very good point. But those players had the opportunity to play. like the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal and Tottenham, whatever, they did exactly the same. They had good, very, very good players playing their side. And, you know, those combination games were sometimes were nearly as good as watching a championship game. They really was, you know. But the bottom line of saying all that was it was very competitive football for players who were playing in that when they weren't in the first team. That's a very, very good point. But none of the players get the chance to play at that level.
No.
In second
the worst
team
thing that could happen for Joe Pigott right now is us getting knocked out of the cup tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it could. Yeah, absolutely. That's the worst thing that could happen. Colin, before I let you go, what's your score prediction going to be for tomorrow?
Score prediction for tomorrow. I would like to think a different town will turn up, and I think I'll go for. I think I'll go for 2-0 to Town.
2-0 to Town. Perfect. I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to bring Rich in a second to talk about the initiative. But Colin, it's been a real pleasure talking football with you as always. Are you going to go?
Oh, can I just? Sorry, Gav. Can I just say one last point before Rich comes on? I've been trying to help him no end today, as he knows. Trying to get some of my parents involved, which I have done. Some of the parents of my students, and I know for a fact one or two of those have chipped in today. And if everybody, whoever's listeners tonight, if he's not there already, let's get Richard and all his team and everybody else's support. Let's get into 10K and above, because I'll tell you what, he's done absolutely unbelievably well.
He has. Well said. Colin,
well done,
as always, look after yourself, my friend.
Cheers, Colin.
Take care, Gav. Bye,
soon.
George.
See you, mate.
Soon. £5 super chat from Neil Post. Thank you very much for supporting us, Neil. Bring on tomorrow on the White Stripes. 3-0 Town tomorrow. What's your score prediction going to be for tomorrow, George?
Yeah, 3-0. I fancy that.
I like your team. Curtis's team, who sadly Curtis's network has broken. Hoping he'll return, but he might not get back in time, was Haladki, Danassian, Edmondson, Burgess and Clements. Harper, Fraser, Aluko, Chapman, Selina and Pigott. So he's gone for a really strong backline there. Well, the first team backline almost, except Burgess coming in for Toto. What do you make of Curtis's team there, George?
Yeah, it's strong at the back. The only reason I didn't put Clements in and Danassian in and Edmondson in is because they start on Saturday for me. I think all of these teams that we have every week just shows the strength of the kind of front six that we can put out. It's crazy, really, isn't it? I know we've been saying it all season, but it's bonkers. I still really have high hopes for Harper. I know that he's only young anyway, but there's still something about him that I think at some point it will click, and I look forward to seeing him. And I think Fraser. In the number 8, I think that's a good shout.
It's really quite almost criminal that we're playing a replay with the strength of depth we've got, let alone played the first team in the first game, isn't it? Because you're right, we've got such a crazy strength of depth. It's really bonkers. Something. It's not. Yeah, we are absolutely right. Let's bring in the man of the moment. You may have heard about his initiative, Pack Out. Well, not his initiative, Pack Out PR. That Portman Road. That's from the club. I'll go that far to give him the whole initiative now, but I'll let him tell you what's going on. Here he is, the Cruncher.
Can I just add something?
Go on.
I thought you said you weren't doing story time with the goat.
I didn't say no such thing, young man.
I've been waiting here for 20 minutes. I've got to go and have my dinner in a minute. I've just got in. It's freezing cold out there. I've been reffing.
He has cut into your time considerably. Yes.
Look, Colin is a legend, and with the amount that they pay down there at where he works, what's the school called? I can't remember off the top of my head. Colford. Yeah, the amount of school fees are there, we'll be over 10 grand in about 2 seconds, because it is rather posh down there, George. Let's just say.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Where's my button? There's my button. Can't speak. I don't know. I can't speak on that. Anyway, your initiative. Well, not your initiative. Well, it is your. Explain to the people at home, okay, right. Those that are living on the road.
So Friday night, I was on social media, and obviously they brought out the pack out PR. It's positive, Martin. You can positive on social media, and the ITFC timeline is very rare. Look, we all know that, all three of us, everyone watching. But this guy called Matt, he said he wanted to buy someone who's struggling. At Christmas, a lot of people struggle. He wanted to buy the 3 games from. That's what he wanted to do. Brett Johnson got in on it, a couple of other fans, and I thought, right, I'll get on this as well. Then I thought, using this platform, what we've created, what you've created, Martin, and what we've all created, but using my social media as well, I thought, the new boots, going well, Matt Stannard.
Have you lost control of a game since you got the new boots?
I've got a real funny story quickly to tell you. So tonight, I was reffing. It was a friendly, the first game, so I wasn't really paying attention, and I'm writing down some stuff. My phone's going mental with people sort of wanting to donate, and I've literally got twatted right on the head by the ball. And I mean, literally right on the side of the head here, and it absolutely smashed me. It was quite funny looking at it now, but yeah.
Did you drop your phone?
No, still in my hand, mate. Don't worry about it.
I imagine
it's been permanently. My phone has permanently been in my hand since Friday tea time, nearly, apart from when I've been sleeping. So yeah, then I thought, yeah, I'll jump on board, put a video out, like I do, and then here we are on Monday night, and I will tell you the total. This is at the minute, it is £9,425 raised.
Wow!
And it'll look. I reckon we'll hit 10 by the close of tonight, because as I'm waiting on here, there's people messaging me, how do I donate? I want to give a quick shout. I've not told you this, Martin. I spoke to Colin, I spoke to the fisherman earlier, and I had this woman called Elaine on Messenger.
No, you have told me this.
It made me quite emotional, and I know.
You all right?
Let me come. Yeah. Look, this has made me emotional, like thinking that what we've done as a fan base, I don't want to come in here crying. I've done it before. But there's a young lad watching tonight called Joshua Allen from Framlingham, right? And his mum contacted me saying he's 12 years old, watches Talking Town, so he's got some brains.
Know some language then.
Yeah, so his mum said he wanted to donate £20 out of his pocket money.
Wow.
And how nice is that? That a young kid wants to get involved. He'd been talking with his mate over the road. If we get to 10,000, how many tickets would that be? So, yeah, massive shout out to you, Josh. And, yeah, we really appreciate it.
Sorry, I just meant, wow, that he's getting £20 for pocket money. I only got a £5.
Well, yeah, that is quite a lot, isn't it? Is that £20 a week? I don't know. Is that £20 a week? It might be a £5. It probably is.
Oh, mine was a £5 a month. And for that, I had like 5 chores.
I don't know. If you're watching, Josh, you can get in the chat if your mum allows you. But yeah, look, that's what it means, Martin. You got, yeah. And then our owner Brett Johnson put in a very nice amount as well. So look, whoever's donated, however big, however small, it's all just massively appreciated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It's all. Elaine Ty, no, £5 a week. £5
there you go.
I want to live with Elaine. £5 a week. That's like, that's.
Hang on.
A lot.
Hang on. Don't say that to your wife. That you
She's
want to
not paying
£5.
She's not paying £5 a week. Live. Like my pocket money's considerably less. She's not happy. She's heard what I just said. Good job. No, but honestly, joking aside, for a young man, that's incredibly thoughtful and compassionate, and just really what it's all about, to be a fan base that's together. And this is what this is. I think this is what it's done. It's just united.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Mark Ashton must be loving it.
Yeah, I thought. I've just had a message from Steedy actually saying, Mark Ashton, I think you're in there. He said, right, so it's going to close tomorrow night at full time of the Oldham game.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to Dan earlier, Dan Palfrey at the club, and he thinks it's fantastic. But we have to draw a line somewhere because they've got to sort these tickets out, and I'm not going to do that, obviously. So I've had Stephen Skeet, who helped Cole Fuller, you know, when Cole done his ticket giveaway, I think 18-19 season. I think this is on a much more. I think he raised, I think, about over £2,000 or something. This is on a much more. Look, it's massive what's happening. So Stephen, he's volunteering matters in Ipswich. He knows a lot of charities in a lot of schools, so he's going to help. He's spoken to Dan today, and they're going to work out sort of where the tickets goes, because obviously I want it to go to
Well,
people
can I
who
ask you
can't
that?
afford
Because
it.
Fishing with Nick has asked, and many people will be thinking this. Don't know how it's going to work. Is each deserving person going to get 3 tickets, or is it going to be 3 times by each ticket getting 1 ticket? How's it going to work? What have the club said? That's what
I think Dan said it would be easier, to do it like in the package of 3, because otherwise, 10,000, that'd be 250 tickets. That'd be 750 tickets for separate. And it'd be easier. Look, you're not going to make everyone happy. I know that. Some people are going to say, I want a ticket. Why haven't I got one? That's why I've handed it over to Stephen and the club, to get involved. Where's he gone?
He put his finger up.
I've gone for the dog. I'm going to the doghouse. Just give me 30 seconds.
The doghouse. Hang on, I want to be a fly on the wall, George, in that conversation. So it'll probably be like the package of 3, like they.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Because I think it's easier, isn't it, George, that way, and it's.
Yep.
And I think it's probably fair.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're not going to make everyone happy. I've had people contact me, can I have some tickets? I want it to go to people who can't afford it, the kids, because listen, we were all kids, I know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we went to Portman Road for the first time, and that's what I wanted, them to go to Portman Road, times 3, enjoy the games, and then they might come back. I've had people offer to, people want to donate their team card points that we're going to be able to get to buy some kids some shirts. So it's nothing, George, but a positive,
I think it's awesome. I think it's a great effort, mate. Yeah, well done.
I just hope we can, 10 grand by tonight, we maybe get to 11 tomorrow. I don't want to be greedy, but whatever figure we get, I think when I started it, I thought we'd probably get 20, 30 people. And I've literally, since Friday evening, about 6 o'clock, it's been non-stop. And I had someone earlier said, one of the videos that I put up, you look knackered. And I am knackered, because I'm literally, this is all I've been doing. I've been off. I'm lucky I'm off today. I'm off tomorrow. I'm off Wednesday. But I was at work yesterday and Saturday. So if my boss is watching, I was doing some work, Dave, honestly. But yeah, so I've just been fielding people like how to donate. Is he coming back? Is he in the doghouse? Is he getting it in the ear? So if anyone's watching who hasn't donated, get in contact with me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Let me know. I'll let you know how to donate. Let's see how high we can go.
Yep, fair play to you. It's awesome. Well done, you and everyone that's putting the effort in.
Yeah, but I'd like to give Matt some credit, the guy who initially put the first tweet out saying that he would donate 3 tickets. He started it, and then other people have got on board, and I just thought I'll use the social media in a positive way, Twitter, because it can. Look, this is proved, George, that it can be a positive. I know it's not always like that on the timeline, is it? I've even today I've had a couple of idiots trying to play the fool, messaging, and you think, just grow up, go away, get a life. It's just, how can anyone take this as a negative? I just still don't understand that. There'll always be someone out there with every positive. Someone will try and spin it into a negative, won't they?
Yeah, of course they will, mate.
And they will. But
you're doing exactly the right thing. And just crack on. And
I think the club will probably say something on Wednesday. I think they might put a tweet out when we've got the sort of final figure and what's going to happen. And because obviously, I don't think Mark Ashton lives in Cloud Cuckoo Land. He's well aware of what is going on.
Sure he knows, yeah.
I do know that. So, watch this space.
Good man.
I say. What are we doing? Are we wrapping up? Is he coming back, or?
Yeah, we'll just What did you think of the game on Saturday, Crunch? I didn't see you after the game on the show.
I said to Martin, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, I wouldn't say it was exciting. I thought it was interesting. You know, and I was a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried about all them little Oxford players. Were they all right this morning, or was the treatment room full? Because bless their little cotton socks, you know, the times they went down. Oh, my leg hurts. I got cramp.
Yeah, it was
the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
the goalkeeper going down. Did he have cramp?
That was what he was pretending to have, I think. Yeah.
Oh, please, you know.
Yeah. It was. It did get a bit embarrassing watching it back.
But
yeah.
The referee wasn't great. No. I thought he was okay, and then he just gradually went downhill. And
they never are, though, are they? We've just got. No, we were saying earlier, we've got to get used to that.
Yeah, if you're letting them get away with it, they're obviously gonna try and bend the rules, aren't they? Look, it's called gamesmanship, and that's what it was. But if he's letting them get away, the worst thing was, I think there was 2 incidents, weren't there? When the worst one was when Matt Taylor was down injured. They're in possession of the ball. They're more than happy to play on, and then the ball gets turned over to us, and then suddenly
back. Yes.
So it's not a head injury. Be consistent. Play on. If they wanted to kick the ball out, they can kick the ball out. He must be having a rather. Yeah, he must be having a dressing down. He's having a dressing down. Do you think? Look, there's no messages along the bottom of the screen. That one from Rob Smith. That one from Rob Smith's been on the screen for about the last 5 minutes. So she's obviously chewing his ear off. But I thought we didn't do enough, George, to win the game. I thought defensively we were a lot better and we looked solid. But when you want your players who can win your games to just get a little bit of magic, you know, Selena to do something, or Edwards flattered to deceive again, didn't he? Or Burns. And don't get me started on Joe Pigott coming on for 3 minutes, because that was an embarrassment to him, and I think to Paul Cook, because
it's a shame.
I just do not like you just said when you're talking to Colin, that he'd said in the week he'd apologised about the lack of minutes and that he got, and then just don't bring him on. There's nothing to gain there in 3 minutes. Percentage wise, what's at 1%? He's going to do something. Yeah, did he even touch? Did he touch the ball?
I don't know that he did.
Might have touched the ball. Yeah. I think there was an incident where they chat for a penalty. I think someone just sort of ran into him. But he'll play tomorrow night. I hope he has a good game, and I hope he gets himself a couple of goals and then gives Cook a headache for definitely. Saturday. Because like Colin said, Bond can't be playing every week, because he will run out of steam eventually. And he's looked a bit like that the last 2 or 3 games, hasn't he? Really.
Yeah, the heart's willing. It's just body's starting to slow down a bit.
He
not
can't.
He's put an absolute shift in every time he plays, and he plays with that extra little bit because of who he is and where he's from. So
there he is. Are you all right?
All right.
I am absolutely delightful. Don't worry about me.
Tell me what happened. Or tell me in the WhatsApp group.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Ear chewed right off.
I can't confirm or deny the rumours being circulated.
What I do know is I've been out there tonight and it was Baltic. Times that by about 3 tomorrow at Oldham, and it'll probably be about minus. Lee Bayliss, what is the temperature up in Oldham tonight? Because I need to know how many layers to wear.
All right. So, have you done a score prediction, Crunch?
No, I haven't. I think the team. I spoke to Callie earlier. The team's going to be similar to Colchester. So, saying that, I'll go 2-1 Town victory. It wouldn't surprise me if we make hard work of it and we have to go to extra time. That'd be so Ipswich, wouldn't it? To go to extra time.
It absolutely would. Now, there's no iFollow stream of the game tomorrow.
No.
We are Matt or someone who's looking at, was it a Bet365?
I think there's one of them accounts sometimes if you have to put £5 in, don't you, to be able to watch the streams of the games. So it's probably available somewhere.
Well, possibly. We'll look into it. If there is, we'll make a pre-game show and a post-game show. If there isn't, we'll get creative with it. We'll do something to cover the game. Obviously, hope someone like yourself and Lee would get involved.
I'm looking forward to meeting Stephen Parry tomorrow night. He's going to be there.
Oh, there you go. You, Lee Bayliss, Stephen Parry, you three of you can call into the show.
Yeah, Callie's going to be there as well. I don't know if he's taking his magnificent flag with him. That was a great flag, wasn't it?
buzzing. It was,
it was next to the Talking Town flag designed by that man up there.
Yeah,
well done, George.
Certainly was. Right, anything else before we close the show?
If you haven't already donated, there is still time.
About
24 hours. About 24 hours, because this time in 24 hours, we'll have just beaten Oldham.
What time are you
we'll all be happy.
It? After the Oldham game?
At full time.
Okay.
I've got a few people who have said, like Mark Dowling, because Mark's Irish, and they only deal in. He doesn't have bank transfers over there in Ireland. They're a bit backward. So I'm putting in. No offense to any Irish people who are watching. I'm going to put in what he's going to donate, and then he'll just give me the money on Saturday when I see him at the game. So, but there's a few people who they've said they're not getting paid till Friday, and whatever money I'll get, then I'll just chuck over to Dan at the club, and then they can do it. Or maybe I've got someone's given me an extra 40 quid. He wants to go towards a kid's shirt. Did you get my bit that there was a guy on Twitter, and there's him and I think 3 of his mates. They're gonna with their team card points buy shirts for young fans who've just attending. So
yeah, I think I might do the same because they're no bloody good to me. Elaine Ty, Josh will pop and see you guys after one home game. That'd be great. That'd be really good.
He's not allowed to wear any shirts, George. You know, the missus is very tight on mine.
Get a good-looking shirt, and I might be tempted.
There's loads of them copper ones in the shop. Some beautiful shirts. Get a Phoenix one like George has got.
Yeah, was yours sent to you free of charge, George?
Was it Eck? Cost me.
Paid for it.
Did you pay for yours?
What?
Your Phoenix shirt.
I've not got a shirt. I've got a cap.
Oh, you got a hat. Sorry.
Yeah. Sent to me by Brett Johnson. No, Brett sent it to me. Top man.
I haven't got friends in high places like Crunch, have I?
Friend. Steph, forecast for tomorrow's ITFC game, 9 degrees.
9 degrees in Oldham? That's a summer's day.
10 degrees when we drive. It's not Ice Station Zebra for nothing.
Yeah, that's what they call it, don't they?
We're done. We're dusted. Talking about extra time. Thanks to Curtis. Sorry his network kaputted. Thank you to George. This man here deserves a round of applause all his own. Probably, and maybe even a seat next to Mark Ashton at one of the home games. I don't know. Just
maybe,
but probably not.
I'm not. I don't travel alone because if it's me, the kids come with me. So
I'll babysit for that game.
If you're watching Mark Ashton,
I hear they have great snacks.
Great snacks. Elliot's always giving the scores out. So if you're sitting anywhere in the vicinity of us, you always know what's happening around the country. It's like Jeff Stelling is.
Well, he is leaving, so you could line up the replacement there.
And yeah, look, a big shout out to everyone who's donated. I know, all jokings aside, big shout out to Colin, what he's done, the fisherman, everyone. And if you haven't donated, why not?
Absolutely. All right, we're done. We're dusted. Possibly back tomorrow, but if not, definitely Wednesday, 8:30. As always, Talking Town, FCA finalist, Cruncher, the designer. All you see in front of you is made by that wonderful man. And I'm the host of the Gov. Take care, with love, with care.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like